Imagine flying faster than a speeding bullet, so high that the sky turns black and you can see the curvature of the Earth. This wasn't science fiction. This was a Tuesday for the pilots of the legendary SR-71 Blackbird. Today, we're diving into one of the most heart-pounding stories from the Cold War. A tale of incredible speed, nerve-wracking tension, and a last-second escape that sounds like it was ripped straight from a Hollywood movie. This is the story of how an SR-71, the fastest air-breathing jet ever built, played a high-stakes game of cat and mouse with enemy interceptors, coming within seconds of being caught. So, picture this. The Cold War is at its peak. The United States and the Soviet Union are locked in a tense standoff, each side trying to gain an edge, to know what the other is up to. Information is the ultimate weapon, and the US has a secret ace up its sleeve. The SR-71 Blackbird. This isn't just a plane, it's a marvel of engineering. A ghost that flies at over 3 times the speed of sound at altitudes above 85,000 feet. For context, that's more than twice as high and 3 times as fast as a commercial airliner. Its mission, to fly deep into hostile territory, take peak tours, and get out before anyone even knows it was there. The Blackbird was designed by Lockheed's legendary Skunk Works division, led by the brilliant Clarence Kelly Johnson. It was built from titanium to withstand the incredible heat generated by air friction at Mach 3, with a skin temperature that could melt lead. The pilots wore full-pressure suits, basically spacesuits, because at that altitude, conventional life support wouldn't cut it. The plane was so advanced, so otherworldly, that it was literally leaking fuel on the runway because the panels were designed to expand and seal up, only when heated to extreme temperatures in flight. Our story takes place over one of the most heavily defended airspaces in the world. An SR-71 crew, let's call them Major Haynes and his RSO, or Reconnaissance Systems Officer, Major Miller, are on a critical mission. Their task is to photograph a new type of Soviet military installation. The intelligence is vital, but the risks are astronomical. As Haynes and Miller scream across the sky, a series of blips appear on Miller's defense systems screen. "We've got company," he reports calmly over the intercom. The blips are MiG-25s, scrambling from multiple air bases, converging on their position. The Soviet ground control is orchestrating a perfect trap. They know the Blackbird's likely flight path and are trying to box it in. Haynes pushes the throttles forward. T-twin Pratt and Whitney J58 engines roar, gulping down air and fuel at an astonishing rate. The Blackbird accelerates, its titanium skin glowing a dull red from the heat. On Tigrun, Soviet controllers are watching their radar screens in disbelief. The target is moving faster than anything they've ever tracked. But the MiGs are relentless. They're climbing, getting closer. Miller is tracking them, calling out their positions. One at our 6 o'clock, climbing fast. Another at our 10 o'clock. The tension in the cockpit is thick enough to cut with a knife. This isn't just a race, it's a deadly chess match being played at 2,200 miles per hour. The Soviets have a plan. Instead of trying to catch the SR-71 from behind, which was nearly impossible, they're attempting a head-on intercept. They're sending the MiGs to a point in the sky where they predict the Blackbird will be, hoping to get a missile lock as it flies past. Haynes and Miller are now deep in the hornet's nest. They can see the contrails of the interceptors below them, clawing their way up into the thin, cold air. Miller's console lights up. Missile launch. Missile launch. The words every SR-71 pilot dreaded. A Foxbat has managed to get within firing range and has launched its massive R-40 missiles. Now, hear us. Where the genius of the SR-71's design and the skill of its pilots come into play. The standard procedure for evading a missile wasn't a dramatic Hollywood-style turn. You can't just yank the stick in a plane flying at Mach 3. Instead, the defense was simple. Accelerate. Haynes firewall at the throttles. The Blackbird, already at the edge of its performance envelope, found another gear. It surged forward, literally outrunning the missiles, chasing it. The missiles, designed for high-speed targets, simply couldn't keep up. They ran out of fuel and fell harmlessly back to Earth. But the danger wasn't over. Another MiG, this one in a perfect head-on position, was closing in. This was the most dangerous scenario. The closing speed between the two aircraft would be over 4,000 miles per hour. The window for a missile lock would be just a few seconds. But it was a real threat. Miller's systems screamed a warning, a lock. The enemy pilot had them painted. Time seemed to slow down. Seconds stretched into an eternity. Haynes had one last card to play. He initiated a slight, pre-planned turn, changing his trajectory just enough to throw off the MiG's firing solution. The MiG pilot, battling the limits of his own aircraft and with only a split second to react, fired his missiles. Inside the SR-71 cockpit, Haynes and Miller could only watch and wait. Through his periscope, Miller saw two bright flashes detonate in the sky. Behind them, they had missed. The slight turn, combined with the Blackbird's sheer speed, was enough. The missiles didn't have the maneuverability to correct their course in time. They were still deep in enemy airspace, but the immediate threat was gone. They had flown through the trap and come out the other side. But the mission wasn't over. They still had to get home. They continued on their flight path, engines screaming as they headed for the border. Looking back, they could see the MiGs, now just specks in the distance, unable to keep up. They had won. As they crossed back into friendly airspace, the tension in the cockpit finally broke. A simple, nice work over the intercom was all that was needed. They had looked into the abyss and flown right through it. The photos they brought back were invaluable, giving the US a crucial glimpse into Soviet capabilities. This single event showcases the incredible legacy of the SR-71 Blackbird. For over 2 decades of operational service, not a single Blackbird was ever shot down by enemy fire. Over 4,000 missiles were fired at them, and every single one missed. This was due to a combination of its incredible speed, high-altitude performance, advanced electronic countermeasures, and, most importantly, the skill and courage of the pilots and RSOs who flew them. These men were a special breed. They operated on the very edge of what was technologically and humanly possible. They flew solo missions deep into the heart of enemy territory, armed with nothing but speed and wits. They were the eyes in the sky, the silent guardians who provided the intelligence that helped keep the Cold War from turning hot. The SR-71 was retired in the 1990s, a victim of its high operating costs and the rise of satellite reconnaissance. But its legend lives on. It remains the fastest, highest-flying air-breathing aircraft ever built, a record that stands to this day. It is a symbol of a time when engineers and pilots pushed the boundaries of flight to their absolute limit. The story of Major Haynes and Major Miller, outrunning missiles and outwitting a perfectly laid trap, is just one of many incredible tales from the SR-71 program. It's a testament to the idea that sometimes the best defense is to simply be faster and smarter than everyone else. So next time you look up at the sky, remember the Blackbird, the ghost that danced with MiGs at the edge of space and always came home. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this dive into aviation history, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more stories like this. Let me know in the comments what other legendary aircraft you'd like to hear about. Fly safe, and see you in the next video.